Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Q School. I'm Shannon Markey, VP of Sales, and with me I have
Matali Idol. I'm the Technical Support Manager. Shannon, how you doing today?
Perfect. Today we're going to talk about the VERS suspended product, and since you saw the movie, I think we're pretty much done. We can probably wrap up.
I don't know how we're going to follow that, Shannon. I mean, we might just go home right now. That was a fantastic video.
Very good video. Not overly complicated product, but we want to kind of just review what it is, what some rules are, some limitations on it, and go from there. Before we get started, we always like to, if we want to jump onto the presentation, talk a little bit about during the presentation. We do have some of the regional sales managers online. So if you have any questions, fire away with the questions. We'll answer them throughout the presentation. We also hang out for a little bit at the end if anybody has any other questions. So with that, these are made to be under 30 minutes. I'm going to see if we can get out of here by about 11:18 if we can. So it'll be pretty quick and pretty clean.
Yep.
Looking at the Q schools we've done, our first one was introducing VERS back on March 17th,
Wow.
In 20. Right as COVID was hitting, throughout the COVID period, we built a studio here at our office to make these presentations. But now I don't even know how many are on that page, but there's been a lot of them. So this is our first one again since April. So with that, we're going to be a little rusty, but last time I did one, I didn't get very many hits on YouTube, so I brought Matali in because he's a star. He gets all the hits.
Come on,
so,
we're a team.
All the views. So
we're a team, Shannon. Come on.
So with that, let's move on to what we're talking about is the VERS suspended product. Not only in a single fixture, everybody realizes that VERS up to this point we only sold in an 8-foot fixture. Now we will be able to do it in continuous runs, linking multiple fixtures together.
Yeah, definitely, Shannon. I mean, this is one of my favorite lines that we actually came out recently. You know, being the technical support guy, I always get a call, Shannon. Hey, do you guys have any suspended fixtures? Well, guess what? Now we do have it, you know. And the good thing about this one, it actually comes with a variety of suspension configurations that allows you to use it in interior space, Shannon. Good. So now you could use like suspended fixtures interior. The other good thing about the VERS SK is that you could use it continuous over 8 feet with all the different in and out. We'll talk about the brackets that you have an inner bracket and a bracket that goes on the bottom as well. The good thing about it is you also comes with field-cuttable suspension cables, Shannon. So the standard is 36 inches, but they do come up about 120 inches. So they are field-cuttable. So that's the good thing. So they could basically align the fixture to get the optimal illuminations. They do come with different type of field suspension kits for power and non-power. So we'll go through as we go through the presentation, we'll go through the different type of power feeds that we have. We also have we took care of like a round and a square canopy shapes for example, a lot of fixtures in the ceilings, you might want to have a round one, you might have a square. So we're trying to cater to different um, architects and different type of specifiers that they want a different type
Correct.
of
So
look on
two
it.
different shapes that you can choose from.
Exactly, and we'll go through the different options as we go through the presentation. And one of the great things about it is you're just not just handed a fixture. It does come with a kitted hardware where you get a T-bar clip or a lag screw, depending on how you want to mount it.
Perfect.
And the best thing about this product is like we're here to help anybody, so you could always call in and to try to get advice that way as well. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
So with that, how do you call it out? First of all, with which verse? We have 9 different verse fixtures. These are the 8 that were currently being offered as a suspension option. So you'll notice that the light is coming out of the bottom versus when we did the verse
correct.
before, the light was coming out of the top, which is a normal way you might mount an extrusion.
Correct.
So with that, all of these are available. You can also use the LOUVER option over optics, and that will work with it as well if you want a nice, clean fixture with a exterior louver and a good cutoff.
Yep.
That's an option as well, and that will work with the suspension. The only one we don't have there is the encapsulated, and the idea there is this is a dry product for interior use. So we didn't offer it in the encapsulated. We're finding out if we can actually do it. I think we probably can, and offer that down the line if you needed something encapsulated, say it was a high school lab or something like that, where you didn't want anybody to break the lens. So we're looking into that option. But right now, for the initial kickoff, this is what we're offering.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you determine that it's a suspended fixture?
Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward there, Shannon. To me, you got the suspended fixtures on the way the picture shows. But the key here is the SK. If you look at the part number, and that gives it a clear giveaway to like inside sales and the outside. Where if they have the SK right after the O1 there, that tells us that it has a suspension kit fixture. Um, we are only showing static white here, Shannon, but this is also available in dynamic white, HE, all the way up to RGB right now. So
all the different light engines are available, but the thing that's going to indicate to us that you want a suspended fixture is that SK.
yeah, definitely.
And then down on the length, you're going to put whatever your length is. If it's a 6-foot or an 8-foot fixture, or if you want a 24-foot run, you tell us how you want that. You'll notice there that anything over 8 feet, we're going to do shop drawings on to make sure we have the power feeds in the right place, to make sure we have the right number of suspension points and things like that. So
Correct.
with that, when you look at the cut sheet and you're looking at this and you want to do it suspended, it's going to direct you down there to look at the suspension kit option, because the suspension kit is not part of the fixture. It comes in a separate bag. A power feed will come in one bag, a non-power feed will come in another bag, and that will include all the parts and pieces you need for that suspension. So we try to make it very simple. There's a couple different part numbers we're going to go through, but very simply, your contractor will get nice, neatly bagged product that will have power feeds. You say you need 6 power feeds and you need 22 non-power feeds. They will all come in separate bags so they don't get the parts mixed up or have to do any sorting on the job site.
Correct. And every time they order this product, Shannon, they are going to get a submittal drawing, anything over 8 feet. So the drawings will outline how this is installed. The bill of materials will all be there for all the parts that you need. So we're going to try to make it as seamless as possible. So basically, when you write down this part number, you need to kind of go to the next phase, which is like you mentioned. You got to look at what kind of mounting options you need. Is it a power feed or is it a non-power feed?
So if you were to call out this as a part number on a fixture schedule, it's going to guide you to that other page, which is going to look like this.
Correct.
And this is where you're going to call out your a power feed or a non-power.
Correct. And the thing to notice on this one is the power feed is only available in the 5-inch one, Shannon, because it's got you can't really put the power in the 2-inch one. So that's one critical difference between the power feed and the non-power feed, non-feed there, where it's like 5 inches compared to the non-feed is 2 inches. So basically, you'd go through this part number system. You basically start off with what the product is. Then you would say what kind of feed is it single or double feed? We're going to go through the presentation, but what the double feed is basically you got a power coming through the middle, and the power is either going to go left or right. That's what we're going to call a double feed.
Okay.
The single feed is basically you're going to have one power feeding the fixture up to 8 feet. You could either have that on the ends of an 8-foot or a longer 16-foot section.
Okay.
But if you're going to order just strictly a 6-foot or an 8-foot, you're probably just going to order just a single feed. I don't think you want a double feed an 8-footer because you don't really need to unless it's overkill.
So really, why is the one canopy 5 inches? Remind me
Well,
again.
because of the power feed,
No, but what is the reason that it's 5 inches
because of
around?
the junction
It's got to
boxes.
cover a junction box. So it'll
Yep.
cover that standard junction box in the ceiling. We also offer products for T-bar sealing or T-bar with a power feed with a J box above it. So really, for any type of ceiling structure you might be mounting this in, you'll have your power feed and your non-power.
Correct.
The real difference there is a non-power feed. You're going to pick if you want the 2 inch canopy. So the difference between a 5 and a 2. Normally, you might have this as your power feed to cover that junction box. And if you want a smaller, cleaner look, we have the 2 inch version for the opposite end. Or you can get one that matches this without the extra hole for the power feed. So
Correct.
pretty basic. As we move forward here, let's talk about the suspension kit contents. So in that bag, based on which type you call out a J box, a T-bar feed, a T-bar non-feed. When you call that out, everything comes in a little Ziploc bag.
Correct.
Not really a Ziploc, but a sealed bag with all those parts and pieces inside of there that you're going to need. So it really does make it easy for the contractor on the job
Yeah,
site
definitely.
to not have a bunch, receive 50 screws and 50 of this. He's going to get the bag, everything isolated. If he's going to do a certain room, he can grab the two or three bags he needs for that run and go install that.
One thing I want to add, Shannon, is the only part we add the J boxes is when they order the T bar.
Right.
The J box is basically by others, but they could use
Correct.
the T bar J box as a regular J box as well. But we don't offer
We
that
don't
as
we don't put the J box, give them a J box. Say we have that as if it's just going to structure. Correct.
correct. I just want to clarify that.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
So here's the cut sheet that'll show all those parts and pieces. So basically, the different canopy sizes and shapes, along with the two standard colors, black and white. Do we do
Correct.
custom colors?
We could,
We can do
definitely.
anything.
Definitely.
Don't tell our engineering department, but we can do anything. So
What you see out there is black and white.
black and white is standard. If you would need a custom color to either match a custom color fixture or to match a certain ceiling color, just let us know. Typically, it's an RAO color. There's a setup charge that we would charge for that and a per piece charge.
Yeah.
When you are doing longer runs, we're going to have the connectors that go between there. So you're going to have the one there that you see called an inline bracket. That aligns the fixtures almost like a picture frame. So it slides in the back of the verse that has the channel.
Correct.
It'll slide in that channel. You'll tighten that down. And that's going to tie those two pieces and keep them tight together so you don't get any light leaks or anything. And then on the bottom is the piece next to it. So if you are doing a long run, this is important to know. If you are doing a long run, wherever there's a joint connecting two of the extrusions, you're going to have this small little piece of that will be on the bottom. So you'll have that little couple-inch dark spot between those as you're doing a long run. So keep that in mind. It's not a straight linear line of light. You're going to have some breaks in there that you'll have to compensate for, or at least realize it's going to be there.
This is only really used if you use a double feed. Just want to clarify that. So you don't really have to use this if you use a single power feed. This is only used if you got the double feed coming in the center, because we kind of need to protect the wires and stuff like that. So that's why you're gonna see the dark spot. So if you really want to eliminate the dark spot, you would just use single feeds, but it all depends on the applications.
Depending upon the light engine you're using, it's you're going to be able to do pretty decent long runs with a single feed.
Correct.
So with that, let's move on in the presentation. All right. So you want to walk through this one, Mattel?
This is basically what a kit basically looks like. You have here basically like an 8-footer, and if this is where you want to. So one thing we forgot to mention, Shannon, and got to kick me later, is anything over 8 feet, you should use a non-feed suspension to prevent any kind of bowing that you want to,
Yep.
So that's very critical. So anything that's above 8 feet, you actually need 3 suspension kits. One's going to be a power feed, and the other one's going to be 2 non-feed ones, as the picture shows right there. A regular 6-foot one there, all you really need is just a power and a non-feed suspension mounting kit. And the pictures below kind of show the differences between the power feed and the non-power feed. If you notice on the power feed one, you do have the wire coming to the right of the fixture or the left, and we do provide tie wrap, Shannon, so they could tie wrap the fixture, the wire to the suspension cable. So that's one of the good things about it. And if you notice there, that's basically a lot of times designers or contractors will call me and say, what's the indent of the power? Is it a 1 inch, 2 inches? So it's clearly marked there. It's a little bit less than an inch away from the back of the fixture. And then if you notice the one on the non-feed one there, that basically is this the power extension cable comes up, and if you come over the top over here, you can see. Come on.
That's as far as it's going to go.
Oh, okay, because we have it screwed. So right here, you would screw this on over here to the top, and it's basically kind of slides down the track wherever you need to.
So part of the challenge, Matali mentioned anything over 6 feet, we need an additional suspension point. If we can jump back to the presentation. The reason for that is it's a relatively small aluminum channel, and you get a little bowing as you get out to 8 feet. So we are working on a way of trying to get rid of that middle extension and doing a support point every 8 feet as opposed to every 6 feet.
Correct.
But we're not quite there yet, but look for that hopefully in the future if we can accomplish that.
Yep.
But the VERS does have that channel that runs all the way down it. So basically, when you get this, we're going to build this at the factory. You're going to take off the end cap. You're going to slide in the small piece here, and then you're going to tighten that end cap back on for a very clean look.
Correct.
So moving on to the next slide here. If you want to go through these.
Yeah, so Shannon, this is basically how to build the part number, basically. It shows two different examples here. Here, the one on the left here where you have two 6-footers. Basically, here's what I was talking about before, where you kind of want to eliminate if you don't want to have any light loss or dark spot. You just do the power feeds on the end, and then in the center, you just do a non-feed, and below are the part numbers. They're pretty straightforward. You have the VERS part number, and then below that you would have 2 power feeds and then 1 non-power feed. So it's basically straightforward, really simple. The one on the right, you'll have 2 6-foot fixtures, and here's where you see the picture above is where the bracket comes. Where the bracket comes in on the bottom, you'll see that's basically the dark spot that you'll have if you have to put the power feed in the middle. So in this particular one, you'll have 1 power feed and you'll have 2 non-power feed ones.
Perfect. Moving on to longer runs, and we'll have some of these on the cut sheets, basically showing you how a typical run might lay out. We can always play around with that if it's something different, but keep in mind VERS, like all of our products, instead of being limited to 4 foot, 8 foot, 12 foot, we can cut it to the inch. You tell us what you want it to be, and we can make a run that is that specific length.
Correct. And this is a good example of another one. Here you could just do 16 feet in 2 different ways, Shannon. Yes. You could either power in the middle or power on the end. So it's a good example of the same amount of footage. We could kind of design it differently. And again, it's everybody's have to understand this, that we are going to provide drawings. So it's not just, you're not just going to get this and here you go. So we're going to have detailed drawings on how to put everything together.
Perfect. Then moving on to even longer runs.
Yeah, here goes another 32-foot one where you could do the same thing, kind of design a little bit differently. So everything could be designed differently, where you could have like double power feeds, you could mix a double power feed with power feeds on the end, so you can try to eliminate the dark spots as well.
So moving on to, where do we find this? Where do you find this product on the website? So what we're going to do is kind of walk you through where you would find that on the website. So Donna put together a nice little video here. So let me start that. And why am I not starting it, Donna?
There you go.
There we go. Not much dexterity. Yep. So basically, if you go, we have the suspended fixtures drop down, and that's going to give you all of our different suspended linear fixtures, which is basically the VERS line right now. You have your filters on the left, so you can filter out by whatever wattage or whatever to eliminate some of the extra things that you don't necessarily want. You click on the one that you choose. So if I pick 01, here it is, and it's going to give you all the basic information there. We have the cut sheet as well, which is a simple cut sheet similar to the VERS cut sheets, except it's got the SK and the part number. And then at the bottom, we're going to give you related products and things that you might want for power supplies or things like that, all your photometric information. And then when we go up and we click on Maura's favorite document and Doug's, which is the master ordering guide, you're going to get a small novel with a lot of pages, but a lot of good information. So basically, it is the cut sheet. It's going to show you, the different light engines, your choices, and things like that. And as you get down, it's going to give you some depreciation tables. It's going to show you all the different options and things we've been talking about, and really explain that. Then also, because it is the master ordering guide, it's also going to include the installation sheets and some other technical
Correct.
data that you may not find on a standard cut sheet.
Yeah. Even though this does look like a lot, Shannon, it's pretty easy system to put together once you start getting
Yeah.
used to it. And again, we're here to help. So anything above 6 feet, or hey, if you need a drawing for 6 feet, we'll do a drawing for 6 feet too, just to get everybody used to how our systems are built.
So with that, I see micro 5 there at the bottom. I'll remind all the reps that are on the call, you should be receiving, if you have not already, your micro 5 sample cases. We will have those available for specifiers and all pretty soon. We're building them as quickly as we can, but very popular product. So please get out there and show it. With
Yeah.
that, any questions we need to answer? Or? Very good.
Right.
Thank you very much for attending. Any questions? Reach out to your regional. Reach out to our account managers, myself, Gian, Natalie, his group.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
thank you and
Thank you,
appreciate your
guys.
time. Bye bye.
Thank you.